Just look at this. It's a page from a book, right? But what does it say? The answer is that nobody on Earth has a clue. For 600 years, the smartest minds on the planet, from genius code breakers to the most advanced AI we have today, have thrown everything they've got at this thing, and every single one of them has failed.
So yeah, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about the Voynich Manuscript. It's arguably history's greatest unsolved puzzle. I mean, it's a book that looks like it should make sense, it feels like it has something important to say, but it just stubbornly refuses to give up any of its secrets.
So what exactly are we dealing with here? You have to understand, this isn't just some old dusty book. It's a one-of-a-kind object that has completely captivated, and let's be honest, totally frustrated, everyone from medieval scholars to modern-day supercomputers.
Okay, so at its core, it's a 240-page book from the Middle Ages. But that's where anything normal about it just stops. The language it's written in, total mystery. The alphabet, the very letters used to write that language, also a complete mystery. And as if that wasn't enough, it is filled with some of the most bizarre and beautiful illustrations you will ever see.
And this really shows you the two sides of the puzzle, doesn't it? On one hand, you've got these incredible drawings of plants that top botanists can't identify. I mean, they look real, but they don't seem to exist anywhere on Earth. And then, on the other hand, page after page of this gorgeous flowing script that is completely, 100% unreadable. It's like a paradox on parchment.
But amidst all this mystery, it's not a total black hole. Science has actually managed to give us a few solid facts to hang on to, anchoring this enigma in reality.
And this right here, this is the one thing we know for sure. Thanks to radiocarbon dating done at the University of Arizona, we know the vellum, that's the animal skin the book is made of, was prepared somewhere between 1404 and 1438. So whatever this thing is, it's not a modern fake. It is a genuine medieval artifact.
And we can even trace parts of its journey through time. After it was made, it kind of vanishes for a bit, then it pops up in the 16th century in the court of the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II. It passes through a few more hands, and then in 1912, it's bought by the guy who gave it its name, Wilfrid Voynich. And finally, it found its current home at Yale University's Banneker Library, where you can actually go online and see it for yourself.
So what's actually in the book, illustration-wise? Well, people have kind of sorted it into sections. The biggest part is the herbal section. That's where all those mystery plants are. Then you've got these astronomical charts and some very strange biological pages with figures bathing in weird green liquids. There are also these complex map-like cosmological drawings. And it all seems to end with what looks like a bunch of recipes, marked by these little stars. Each section is just as baffling as the next.
And all of this brings us to the absolute core of the debate. The one question that has fueled a century of arguments. Is this thing a real language we just haven't discovered yet? Is it a complex code hiding a language we do know? Or is it all just an incredibly elaborate, meaningless hoax?
Now this is where it gets really interesting. See, on the one hand, the text behaves like a real language. It follows a statistical pattern called Zipf's law, which is basically a rule that all human languages follow about how often words are used. It's got structure. But on the other hand, it does some very unlanguage-like things. Certain words repeat way too often, and some of the letters seem to follow patterns that are just too rigid. It doesn't really fit neatly into either category. It's a real head-scratcher. And for anyone who just screams hoax, well, a linguist at Yale named Claire Bowerin has a pretty powerful comeback. She basically says that to create 240 pages of fake text that is so consistent and so perfectly mimics the deep statistical rules of a real language, well, that would have been an absolutely monumental task, especially for someone in the 1400s. Honestly, it might have been easier to just write a real book.
So if it's probably not a simple hoax, what is it? Well, this is where the hunt moves firmly into the 21st century, with things like computational linguistics and artificial intelligence finally getting a crack at it.
Okay, so a couple of researchers, Greg Kondrak and Bradley Hauer, came up with this brilliant AI-driven attack plan. Step 1. Their algorithm analyzed the statistical patterns of the Voynich text and compared them to hundreds of languages to find the closest match. Step 2. It tried to map the strange Voynich symbols to the alphabet of that language. And Step 3. And this was a huge leap. They guessed that the words might be anagrams, so they told the AI to try and unscramble them.
And this is what they found. When they ran the numbers, comparing the Voynich text to 380 languages, one language wasn't just a good match, it was a massive outlier. It just leaped off the chart, statistically way closer to the Voynich patterns than anything else. And that language was Hebrew.
So,
The million-dollar question, right? Did it actually work? Well, the researchers took the very first line of the manuscript, applied their theory that it's anagrammed Hebrew, and then just put the result into Google Translate. What came out was this. She made recommendations to the priest, man of the house, and me, and people. It's not Shakespeare, for sure, but it's a grammatically coherent sentence. It's an absolutely tantalizing glimpse of what might be hiding in plain sight.
So that's it then, right? Case closed, mystery solved, we can all go home. Well, as with literally everything to do with the Voynich Manuscript, it's just never that simple. This Hebrew theory is really compelling, but it's far from being universally accepted.
Actually, the field is a total battleground of competing ideas. You've got the Hebrew cipher camp, sure, but then you have botanists who swear the plants are from the New World, which would suggest a lost language from the Americas. And of course, you still have people, including some physicists, who argue the text's weird statistical properties point to an incredibly clever computer-like hoax designed from the ground up to fool a rich buyer.
So after all of this, after all the theories and all the dead ends, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us with an enigma that has lasted for 600 years. And maybe the real power of the manuscript isn't in what it says, but in the incredible human quest it inspires.
And you know what? That quest can be a dangerous one. Physicist Andreas Schinner calls it pure poison for a young academic's career. Why? Because with no real way to prove anything, it's incredibly easy to make a bold claim that gets shot down in flames, and that can really damage your reputation. It takes guts to even try.
And that really is its modern role, isn't it? The manuscript has become the ultimate test. For linguists, it tests our very understanding of what language is. For cryptographers, it's the Mount Everest of code breaking. And for AI developers, it's a benchmark for machine learning. It constantly pushes the absolute boundaries of what we think we can know.
So in the end, we're left right where we started, with those same fundamental questions. What are we looking at? Is it the last surviving whisper of a language that vanished from the earth? Is it an unbreakable code, still waiting for that one person with the key? Or is it simply a masterpiece of art, the most beautiful nonsense ever created? For now, the book stays silent. And maybe the greatest mystery of all isn't what's written on its pages, but why, after 600 years, we're still so desperate to hear what it has to say.